the meeting for me and excuse me, Jonathan, you're in the way of the camera. He's trying to film me.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to ask a quick question to you all. It's really a question to test your knowledge. Raise your hand if you think that Australians have a right to free speech. Raise your hand if you think Australians have a right to free speech. Okay. Raise your hand if you think Australians don't have a right to free speech. Maybe one or two. Moish is right! There is no right to free speech in Australia. Australia has no Bill of Rights. There's no right to free speech. The only thing that is derived from the Australian Constitution is a right to free political speech. But there's no right to free speech. Isn't that crazy? In Australia, a democracy, there is no sanctioned right to free speech. And because there's no right to free speech, the following is going on right now as we speak. And that is Section 18C of the Racial Discrimination Act. For those of you who are following in the papers, says that it's unlawful for a person to do an act otherwise than in private if the act is reasonably likely, in all the circumstances, to offend, insult, humiliate, or intimidate another person or a group of people. And if the act is done because of the race, colour, or national or ethnic origin of the other person or some or all of the people in the group. That is Section 18C of the Racial Discrimination Act, which is currently being repealed by the federal government. Well, I'm not here to stir hate against anyone. But what I'm saying is, there is a current bit of legislation that says you cannot insult people based on the group, their identity, their race, their colour. And the government is saying right now that this offends the notion of free speech. If you can't insult someone, well then that limits my right to speak freely. And how's that fair? How's that fair? And if you're following The Age or the Jewish News or the Herald Sun or the Brisbane Times, you will know that Jeremy Jones of the JCCV is standing up for the Jewish community and saying this, by repealing this act, we're allowing Holocaust deniers to get away with murder. We're allowing people to deny the Holocaust. So our Jewish interest is that there shouldn't be freedom of speech. Because if there is freedom of speech, then we lose as the minority group. And you know what? We're right. You know why? Because Torah too doesn't believe in freedom of speech. Torah says there's certain things you're not allowed to say. You can't gossip. You're not allowed to gossip. It's prohibited. You're not allowed free speech. Free speech can be dangerous if it's used against people. Sadly, in February 22nd, we saw the suicide of Charlotte Dawson, who many of you may know as a TV personality. She suicided because of what people were saying about her on Twitter, on Facebook, and social media. We don't have to go so far. In our own community, people have sadly lost their lives, have taken their lives, because of what people have said about them. Lashon hara, which is what this parsha is all about, takes lives. It takes lives. And if we don't curb our speech, well, lives will be lost. And I want to end with a comment by Eleanor Roosevelt, the First Lady, the former First Lady, wife of President of the United States, Theodore Roosevelt. She said, "Great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and small minds discuss people." It's our choice what sort of mind we choose to have. Watch.
Aha, very meaningful.